there was a thing with the Home Office, Shabana Mahmood. If anyone doesn't know Shabana Mahmood, she is a Pakistani woman who claims to be English, who is terrified of ethno-nationalists. She is the Home Office secretary. She's in charge of deportations, denaturalization, refugees, the hotel. She's in charge of everything, right? She was put in post by Keir Starmer. She's still in post because Keir Starmer is still the Prime Minister, even though he's resigned. Stop. My heart. But she basically came out, right? She's been very anti-immigration. She's been saying over the last year, we'll get rid of you guys, we'll stop the boat, we'll close down the hotels. She said she'll close down all the hotels, which she technically is doing. But in response to this hardline immigration stance that she was taking, you've got Andy Burnham, who comes along and he says that he would reverse Shabana Mahmood's indefinite leave to remain policy, where instead of having to wait 5 years to be given the ability to have permanent residency here in Britain, it would go to 10 years. This was the proposal by Shabana Mahmood. And Andy Burnham's not a fan of that. He didn't like that very much. He said that instead, we'll get rid of that, back down to 5. We should have a fair immigration system. It shouldn't be so discriminatory. Yes, it should. So Shabana Mahmood, since she knows that Keir Starmer's going, and she told him to go, by the way, this is why it's funny. She told Starmer to go. She was one of the first to do it. She's received funding from the same people that fund Labour Together, the same people that put Burnham in power, put Starmer in power as well. She's been receiving this funding. She wants to keep her job. Now she's falling in line with Burnham after telling Starmer to go. She's rolling back on her immigrational stance and becoming weaker on it. And this is a big example of, they are now talking about moving 3,750 illegal migrants, not legal, illegal migrants, into RAF bases around the country. One of them being in a North Yorkshire town called Linton on Ouse. It's a tiny village, like literally minuscule. It has a population estimate of about 1,200 people, and they want to put in 3,750 migrants into an RAF base. Do the math. That's almost a 4-to-1 imbalance between migrants and native residents. But they're talking about sending thousands of these men to these tiny little villages, and it's very funny. Because do you remember Larry Finkelstein? Larry Finkelstein, his sister, I think her name's Margaret Finkelstein. She's in charge of the board for the countryside that talk about what happens in it and diversity. And they have come out in the last few months talking about the countryside is too white. The countryside needs to be more diverse. What's the perfect plan to do that? How about shove a bunch of fucking brown men into an RAF base in a tiny little village? And what happened last time? Do you remember last time they were putting these people in barracks? Remember last time they were putting these migrants in barracks? They rioted. They broke out. They set it on fire. So how do you think that goes? How do you think that goes when 3,750 men, they are mostly men, move into an RAF base in a tiny little village and eventually break out? Who do you think's in danger then? Obviously the residents of Linton on Ouse. Obviously the white Englishman trying to live quietly in a little village. And these plans are being put forward by foreigners. It's being put forward by Margaret Finkelstein, being put forward by Shabana Mahmood, being egged on by people like David Lammy, Ed Miliband. And that is where our politics is at, really. That is where the policy is at in regards to immigration. And I tweeted this earlier, we have a foreign home secretary that is dictating immigration policy about who can stay here and coming up with plans about, for example, they have to pay back a bit of the money. if they stay here, and we dictate how much money they have to be able to earn to stay here. What? We have these foreign groups inside of our parliament, lobbying into our government, running the Homes Office, dictating how much these other foreigners should have to be able to come into our country. How does that even make sense? And, like, let's put it like this, all right? Everything gets scapegoated to one group or another. I'm doing this thing, I know I'm talking about illegals, it's not just illegals, but this is why we're heading into the direction we're heading into. This is why people are sick of it, because our immigration policy has always been dictated to us by foreigners. Robert Jenrick talking about the Afghanistani resettlement, his wife's a Jew, his wife's Israeli, foreign, foreign, foreign. You've got people like Shabana Mahmood dictating our Home Office. You've got people like Priti Patel putting forward immigration policy, which allowed, like, in the Boris wave, same with Suella Braverman. Everything about this is just foreign, 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 dictating which other foreigners can come to our country.